I read in the comments recently that people want to know a little bit more about my dating history since my divorce. For those of you who are not familiar with my story, on August 4th, 2017, my then wife was out celebrating her birthday with her coworkers. She came home at around 2 in the morning and woke me up. I say woke me up because I was kind of awake, just pretending to be asleep. I had an idea that something was going on. She wasn't really responding to her texts all that much, but she came home on her birthday that night, told me that she had made out with her coworker. And that's kind of where the downfall started. So that was almost 8 years ago that she came home and was basically the end of our relationship. So just to give you kind of a brief story of more or less my relationships and my overall experience with dating apps. That's what this video is about, more so is how dating apps have played a role in my life, why I made that ebook, the Hinge Mastery. But to start, like I said, we separated in August of 2017. And at the time, I was an antisocial, overweight, really no options guy in small town Wisconsin. And at the time, my goals were to become attractive to women, to be more social, to live a life of, I guess, more adventure, more travel. So I ended up moving out of Wisconsin and I moved to Boston. With Boston, I did start dabbling in online dating, but I never learned any of the proper ways to build a profile. I did have some luck here and there, get on some dates. I wasn't really looking for a relationship, so it was mostly just to get as much dating practice as possible. So I had a few dates in Boston, nothing crazy. Like I said, I was still just getting over the divorce and really focusing on, I guess, building my social skills. So I was more worried about going out to bars and clubs to talk to people. So that's kind of where my online dating originally started. I had been losing some weight. I did have some decent enough pictures, I guess, to where I would get 1 or 2 dates here or there from online dating, but it wasn't, they weren't necessarily girls that I wanted to settle down with. At the time, I was not really looking for that at all, which led me to moving to Las Vegas. I was in Boston for about 6 months, moved to Vegas in July of 2018. And since I had just been out of a marriage, I didn't really have any desire to settle down or anything like that. So my focus was, I'm going out to Las Vegas. I'm going to improve my social skills. I was semi-working, wasn't working very hard. I was more focused on building my social skills, just using my savings, just wanting to be free. Like, I finally had the freedom. I didn't have to check in with anybody. So I was just loving that lifestyle. And if you're really familiar with Vegas, it wasn't the ideal spot to ever try to settle down with anybody. I did eventually meet a girl that I was seeing consistently, but she lived in a different country. So it was very much, we would see each other whenever we could. And that was great, but I was still never looking to settle down. It was mostly just to continue to practice my social skills, continue to meet as many women as I could. At the time, my goal was to just meet as many women as I could. Probably not the best thing, but it ended up really helping me figure out the kind of women that I do want to see. And like I said, I did meet one really great girl that we ended up seeing each other quite a bit. We had a lot of chemistry. We had a good relationship. It didn't end up working out in the end because of probably some of my immaturity, the distance, and there's just some things that I don't know, she just wasn't the perfect girl for me. So that was basically in Vegas. Online dating there, again, I was still mostly focused on just going out to bars and clubs because I wanted to practice my social skills. I wanted to meet people in person. And I'd get a couple dates here or there from online dating, but I still didn't put in any of the work to get dates consistently. And I didn't really need to because at the time, I wasn't really working. I could afford to go out to the nightclubs 4 or 5 days a week as often as I wanted. I didn't have constraints with my job, so I didn't really need online dating. And then I got a job doing software development, which moved me to Philadelphia. And in Philadelphia, I wasn't all that, I did some online dating, but again, my profile wasn't the best, so I get some dates here and there. But I was only in Philadelphia for a short amount of time, so I wasn't really looking to again, really settle down or find anything serious. So I didn't really do a lot in Philadelphia, didn't really go out much, focused mostly on the new job, trying to learn the software as much as I could. And then after that, COVID happened, so I didn't actually talk to anybody for almost a year and a half. It's in my parents' basement. I was originally supposed to move to Michigan. I got hired on in Michigan. I was going back to Wisconsin to move all my stuff, and COVID happened. Lockdowns happened, so now I'm in my parents' basement for the next year and a half. So this is kind of how I was still single at this point. Vegas, wasn't really looking for anything. Philly, was only there for a short amount of time, wasn't looking for anything. Then in small town Wisconsin for a year and a half, I knew I was not gonna, I guess I didn't really want to meet anybody, and I knew that they weren't gonna meet my lifestyle. I knew I wasn't gonna be in Wisconsin long term. That wasn't my goal. That's not what I envisioned for myself. So I eventually moved down to Austin, Texas. And in Austin, again, I was back into going out and meeting people. This is where I started to socialize without alcohol. I was able to go out to emo bingo, my favorite event. I would go out to emo bingo every Monday night, and I started having fun just singing and dancing and being completely free without alcohol. It's the first time I ever really felt free doing it. I would go out in Vegas sober, and I would get some results. I would have some good interactions with, making friends or meeting women, but it all felt very forced, and I was never just like present or out of my head doing it. So once I got to Austin and I could go to emo bingo and I could just have fun singing and dancing and be free, I started to make better friendships. I started to meet quality women, and I didn't really meet anybody in Austin that I was going to see long term. I think a lot of it was, I was getting back into socializing. I lost a lot of that social skills that I had developed from COVID. I was in a basement for a year and a half, and then it took me a while to get up and running again. And I wasn't honestly really looking for a girlfriend at the time. I didn't feel I ever reached the right level. I wasn't, if you're familiar with, they call it game or, real social dynamics, like they always teach you that you're always shooting to be able to meet 9s and 10s at the bar, and you should be able to take them home consistently. And I had some good results, and I knew I was pretty attractive at this point. Like, I had been working on myself. I had lost weight. I did have some social skills. But when I would go out, I wasn't consistently bringing home women. And I thought this was what was going to make me valuable, I guess. Like, I had been working on my social skills since basically 2018. It's now, I think I was in Austin in 2022, so a total of 4 years, minus a year and a half of COVID. So 4 years, I'm supposed to be this epic, what do you want to say, player, I guess, or like I should have the skill set to go out to a bar every weekend and bring a girl home. And that wasn't the case. That wasn't where I was. So my mindset was, okay, I'm in Texas. I'm not where I want to be. I just need to go out and every weekend just focus on having better interactions, not really focused on getting into relationships, just trying to, I guess, meet as many people as possible. I still needed validation. I was not grown up yet, I guess. I guess I would have been 39 at the time, which is kind of, it is pretty old to be immature, but I guess because I had been married for 13 years, like I didn't have a lot of experience living my own life. So in Texas, did that for about a year, had blast doing like 80's night and emo bingo, and I was actually going out sober. And maybe that's why I kind of felt like I wasn't where I could be because I never had gone out sober before. So it was an entirely new experience. So in Texas, my main focus was still just meeting as many women as possible. I would use dating apps, Tinder, Hinge. I had a lot of results with those. I would say I didn't have a lot of results with those. I did have some results with those, but that's when I started to learn what was working with online dating. I wasn't just putting up random pictures, sending random messages, and just hoping it would happen. I kind of started to develop a system, and I would be able to get dates consistently here or there that went well. I didn't meet any girls that I thought would be long-term options. I probably also wasn't really looking for that, so that probably didn't help either. And then once I was in Texas for about a year, I went and visited a friend in Playa del Carmen. And it's the first time I really ever traveled out of the country by myself. So I went down to Playa del Carmen. I ended up using the dating apps. I was on Tinder and Bumble at the time. Those are more popular down there than Hinge is. So I went down there. Hopefully this is not, this is a long ass story. Hopefully this isn't too dry. But yeah, I went down there. I was down there for a week, and my entire focus was just to really get as many dates as possible. And it really opened my eyes to, okay, if I get out of the US, I have a lot more options with girls that I like. I was meeting girls from Argentina, Ukraine, Russia, and really just opened my eyes to what more was possible. And I started to really learn the online dating game down there. I ended up getting to a point where, you know, I could consistently meet girls that night, take them home, have good single relationships. I wasn't still looking for anything relationship-wise. I was just looking to continue to meet as many women as possible. I still didn't have that validation I needed. I still hadn't grown up yet. Still just, I guess, having fun. I don't know if you want to call it fun. Yeah. So in Mexico for a couple of months, and then I go to meet some friends in Barcelona. My camera stopped filming. I don't know if the storage got full, but I was talking about Barcelona. So I was in Barcelona for only a couple months. I was out there practicing my social skills. I was meeting some friends, and I was getting on the dating apps at the time there. I was on Tinder, and I met two girls that I really resonated with that I never would have met had I not learned any online game. With the online game, you're able to meet people that you wouldn't just meet out and about. And I really hit it off with them. They were much different than any of the girls I had met in Mexico or in the States. And we both knew that it was just going to be a short-term relationship. I was only there for a couple months. But I feel like I did have a positive impact on their lives. They had a big positive impact on my life. And I still talk to them from time to time. Would have been great to meet up with them eventually, but because of my lifestyle, it just didn't work like that. So then I went back to the States for a little bit and ended up getting hired on as a software developer for a new company. And because I was working remote again, I decided I would move back down to Mexico. And in Mexico, I was still very much looking for validation to get as many experiences as I could. I was in a new place, so I didn't want to just settle with somebody. I also didn't know how long I was going to be there for. So I was taking full advantage of dating apps. I wasn't really focused on any long-term relationships. I did meet one girl on Tinder who ended up being somebody who was really special to me. She was somebody that I was seeing consistently, but I wasn't looking for a long-term relationship. I just had too many options. I was too mature. I didn't really think about what I wanted. So I would see her, but I would also see other girls on the side. Because there was so many, because I guess my online dating skills were so good, or that there was just so many options, I didn't really ever consider slowing down. I didn't know how long I was going to be in Mexico for either. So it was all about fun for me. I did really find her to be special. She had a huge impact on my life. I also was in the mindset that if I'm a high-value guy, I should have a ton of options. So I was kind of living that out. Still immature, just looking for probably a lot of validation, just seeing how far I could push my limits. But once I left Mexico, I ended up going back to Wisconsin to start my business. And that's when I really took a break from things because I was just focused on work. I wasn't really looking to meet anybody. So that was about a year of just working on the cleaning business, getting things up and running. And then once I got it to a point where it's kind of on autopilot, Ryan, my business partner, and I decided to move up to Minneapolis. And in Minneapolis, that's when I started to get back into online dating. I was using Hinge, Tinder, really developing my skills, trying to go out on as many dates as possible because I didn't have to really work again. I had that passive income. So I was just going out on as many dates as possible, really building up my texting skills. And I had quite a few dates that came about from that. I wasn't still really looking for any long-term things, I think, because I knew I didn't want to be in Minneapolis for long either. Like my plan was to be here for a year, make sure the business is up and running, I just wanted to be close by in case something happens. So I wasn't really focused on meeting somebody I would settle down with. I wanted to just go out on as many days as possible, build up my skill set, and have fun, see what was out there. But that all kind of changed. One night, I had a girl come over straight to the house from Bumble. She ended up really not being the highest quality girl, and that really changed my mindset on everything. That's when I kind of realized that I don't want to just keep seeing girls one-off. I don't really care about the one-night stands. I like more of the connection. I do want somebody that's going to be a better fit for my life. It's kind of windy. I do want somebody that's going to be a fit for my life, that has the same goals. I want companionship. I want somebody that's going to be there and adventure with me, that we can build a life together. So that's when I started to realize just a few months ago that I need to start taking dating more seriously. I've always known that I wanted kids, and I guess I just assumed that I had more time. Like I'm about to be 42 now. Like I said, my plan is, what I would like to see happen is by 45, find somebody I'm gonna have kids with and start a family. I don't know if that means marriage. I don't know what that necessarily means now because there is a lot of risk with marriage. And there's a lot of upside to it too. So that's something I gotta consider. But once that happened, that one night stand happened, she came over, I realized that that's really not what I want anymore. I did still did use online dating because I did want to still meet girls. It was hard to go out and meet people every day at the grocery store when you have other things to do, or you just don't have, like at the time I didn't have the skill set. I was in Wisconsin the last year with the cleaning business, so I wasn't where I was socially again, and that takes time to build up. So I did get on Tinder, and I'd have some dates here and there, but I did meet a girl from Hungary, from Budapest, and she really changed my thoughts on everything again. Like she was the first girl that I had met since the girl I was seeing in Mexico, where I could actually seeing her long term, like more than one time. We did have a great relationship. She was just the kind of girl I wanted, very feminine, very loving, very fun, very positive. No, she wasn't angry at people. She just loved life. She was very happy about everything. And there's very attractive qualities, much different than my ex, who would, guilt trip and victimize herself and really didn't care about my accomplishments. This girl was very loving, very caring, wanted to see me succeed. It was a great relationship. The issue was she was only in Minneapolis at the time for about a week, so we spent as much time as we could together. We kept in contact. I ended up visiting her in Budapest. But because of the distance, and I just, I don't know, it just didn't work out. I probably didn't handle it the best way, but I did really care about her, and it was a great relationship. That never would have happened if I didn't have any online dating skills. But I guess one of the reasons that it did kind of go downhill was because she was in Budapest and I was still in Minneapolis. And at the beginning of this year, 2025, I decided I was going to start working on my social skills again. I wanted to slow down on the online dating. Online dating's great. I definitely got a lot of great experiences from that. I got plenty of dates from it too, which helped me build my confidence. So when I did meet girls out on the street, I felt comfortable talking to them. I knew if I went out on a date, I'd be able to be myself. I wasn't worried about being my best version, like putting on a show, because I'd had so much experience just on dates. I kind of knew what to do and kind of handle myself. So at the beginning of the year, I started doing an approach a day. I just did one a day because I didn't want to spend my entire day doing approaches. And in Minneapolis, it's kind of difficult to find tons of people walking around. It's not like New York or Barcelona. So I wanted to do one set a day, practice my social skills, and just become a better version of myself. That's when I really felt like I guess I just really felt like I was improving, when I could go up to a woman that I thought was attractive, face that rejection, tell her I thought she looked nice, why she looked nice, and really show my intentions. I used to be the nice guy who would just, try to pretend that I wasn't interested in a girl. I didn't want to express my intent. I wanted to hide behind it until I knew she liked me. So once I started going out and practicing the skills, that's where I met Izabela, and we hit it off immediately. I thought she was very cute, very feminine, very loving, and we hit it off right away. And that would never have happened had I not done this challenge, had I not worked on myself over the years, had I not had these online dates in the past. Because once we, talked and hit it off, we went on a date. We had a great first date because I knew how to give her a good time. I knew how to listen, how to be fun and playful. It was through all this experience with online dating and just dating in general, like practicing my social skills, that I had become that man, that I was able to go out on a date with her sober, like I didn't even have any drinks. Like I said, this would have never happened in the past. I would have had to have some drinks to try to be myself. So that's where all this experience from online dating really kicked in and helped me. I met Izabela and we hit it off right away. And that's where I'm at now. I haven't really bothered with online dating recently at all because I've been seeing her. But the reason I made that ebook was because online dating had a tremendous effect on my life. The more experience I got with it, the more dates I could get from it, the more I realized the kind of girls that I wanted to see long term. I met girls that I never would have met out and about. And if I had not upgraded my photos, if I had not really improved my bios, if I had not really learned a little bit more about how to message girls to keep them interested, I might not have ever met these people. So I wanted to create that to help you guys. I know a lot of guys do struggle with online dating, and a lot of the times I think it's things that are correctable. Most people don't. I'd say a lot of guys are not, it's not that they're not attractive, it's that they're not presenting themselves in the most attractive way. So I wanted to create that ebook to give you an idea of things that do work. I do feel like I've had quite a bit of experience with online dating. I do consistently was able to get phone numbers, get on dates, and these are the things that work for me. I know when I first got divorced, I never would have believed that at 40, I'm about to be 42, I never would have thought that I would still be able to meet attractive women through dating apps. I would have assumed I was too old. I probably would not have put in the right amount of effort. I don't know. I'm sure I would have been very skeptical of it as well. But I mean, there's not a lot of competition on online dating because a lot of the guys don't take the time to make themselves look as attractive as possible. Once I learned that I could be more attractive, I applied that to everything. I applied that to working out. I applied that to my social skills. I applied that to my dating app. I wanted to attract attractive women, so I wanted to make my profile as attractive as I possibly could. And I think that's been, obviously, that's helped me a lot. And I don't know if that's everybody's goal or not on dating apps. Maybe they just want to put up their profile very quick and see what happens. But I think it's like everything. If you want to get the best results, you want to put in that effort to get the most attractive women. A woman a very attractive quality woman on a dating app is going to want to see a guy's profile who put the time in to make it work, to make it look nice, to present himself in a good way. So that's what this ebook is for, is to try to give you some tips on photos that work, prompts that kind of work, that leave the girl interested, makes her want to get to know you a little bit more. So hopefully that does help you guys. That's basically the rundown of my dating life at this point. Probably not the most ideal. I did gain a lot of experience doing that. I did realize over the last, probably the beginning of this year, that it is important for me to start finding the girl that's going to be a right fit for my life, that has the same goals as me. I'm not interested in just meeting as many women as possible like I used to be. So now I'm dating with intention. I'm not just trying to see as many girls as possible. So that's my story. I hope it was beneficial, interesting, not too long-winded. Let me know in the comments if any of you guys can relate to this. I've seen a lot of comments too about guys that are going through a divorce. They said that the online dating tips have been helpful. They're just not ready to get out there yet. And I totally understand that. You don't want to rush into anything. It does take time to process the divorce. It took me months, and then, enough time had passed for me that I realized I wanted to, what I actually started wanting to do. I hope that was beneficial to you guys. I'm gonna go home now. I'll edit this video, get it up for tomorrow. I guess you'll be seeing it when it's done. But that's my plan. I'm gonna go to the gym. I did my mastermind yesterday with my friends. That has been truly helpful as well. We stopped doing it the last 2 weeks, and I really felt myself slip. I talked myself into eating unhealthy foods, like, yeah, what's the big deal? I'll get back to it. And it just fucked with my mindset. I hadn't gone to the gym all last week because I talked myself into saying, I'm moving to Mexico soon. I'll just take the week off. And then I feel like I'm way behind where I could be. So having that mastermind really kept me accountable. If you ever read the book Think and Grow Rich, they just talk about how Henry Ford and all these people do masterminds. And it's not just about accountability. It's about being with people that want to see you succeed. They're there to help you succeed. You guys talk through issues together. So my friends, they're all on their grind. They're working out. They're making sales. They're making money. And so when I'm not doing that all week, it kind of just shows that I'm not holding up my end of the bargain, and it makes me want to improve even more. So this morning I woke up, went for a run, ate healthy breakfast, worked my ass off on the business, started doing more coaching calls, read the comments to film this video. It made me just find ways that I can improve, not to be hard on myself, but to motivate me. So if you're not part of a mastermind, I would highly recommend it. If you're looking for like-minded guys who are going through the same situation, there's plenty of guys in the Unstoppable Man group on Facebook. I'll link that in the description. Find people that are where you want to be. Find people that have gone through what you've gone through. Get their opinions on things. Figure out what you can do to improve yourself. That's been my mission. I don't know if I say mission, but that's what I've been doing since the divorce. I've been always looking for ways that I can improve myself. So I'm always looking for, coaching or like-minded people. That's who I was looking for in Boston and Vegas, was people that were also interested in meeting a bunch of women, going out and practicing our social skills, paying to get mentorship. I wanted to learn that stuff quickly. I wanted to be around people that had the same goals as me. So figure out what you want to do with your life. Figure out who's going to help you get there. Plenty of guys in the group have gone through the same things you have. We want to see you succeed. I'll leave it there. We'll see you next time.